secretary showed up out of nowhere here on a Saturday, doing a little side gig. So anyway, what we're doing is we are doing a full paint correction on this truck. And a lot of people don't know, but buffing and paint correction are two different things. Like I stated in the last live I just came off of, if you are just using a compound and a polish, that's not true paint correction. You have to sand the panel first. Usually what I do is I start out on the heavier scratches and I'll hit them with 1,000 grit, 1,500, 2,000, 3,000, and then 5,000. I already got most of the heavy scratches down the side of this, so the rest of it I'm just hitting with 2,000 and 3,000, 5,000, and we're going from there. So yeah, hang out while I do a little buffing, everybody. One important thing is to have enough light so you can see what you're doing. I love this little snap-on light, it's pretty sweet, pretty sleek. One important thing is make sure you have a nice, clean, new rag, microfiber, whatever you want to call it. You do not want to be introducing new scratches with a dirty rag because you're going to be fighting a battle that you're never going to win. And those little micro scratches will show up in the sun, everybody. We're on our first step. I'm using 3M Perfect It 3-step compound, polish, and swirl remover. Good stuff. I'm running this little Makita buffer. These things are tanks, they last frickin' forever. So I think this one's probably, I don't know, 6-7 years old, and it's still going strong. I try not to do a lot of buffing, try to get my paint really clean, so I'm barely buffing anything anymore. But when I do, this is the workhorse right here. Usually I'm just buffing out little nibs. Pretty rare to get a run anymore. But, I mean, you do something for 12 years and you tend to get a little better at it. So what I'm doing right now is I'm refining the 3,000, 5,000 grit scratches in it. I've already sanded out all the major scratches down the side of it. That's what happened. I think he drove it through a field or something, and then he got out of there and he was like, oh, well, why do I have a bunch of scratches in my clear coat? Go figure, right? And if anybody got any questions, any comments, just leave them in the chat, everybody. I'll be back to check here in a few minutes. One thing I do like about this 3M compound, it's not full of fillers, so you're not really gonna, I mean, you will a little bit. I don't think any compound is really filler free, but you're not really gonna get that filler effect where it hides the scratches until you get it outside already washed, and you're washing all the compound off of it, and then the compound is no longer there to hide everything. The 3M's a pretty good product for that. I know a lot of your other ones like Norton and stuff like that, and I'm not bashing any companies, but my point is I don't want to get a car washed, done and washed and outside and see dieback like that. That's one of the most annoying things right there. And I guess the biggest thing is just making sure that you're doing the steps correctly, you're going through and you're being thorough, because if you're not, then you're not going to be happy with the results, and neither is the customer. So just making sure that this long, tedious process, and that's what I said, buffer, a detailer guy can go in and they can sit there and, oh, I can buffer your whole truck in 4 or 5 hours. Well, I'm sure you can. And in 2 months, all the scratches are going to be back and the customers are going to be very happy. So any detailers out there calling themselves paint correctors when they're not sanding on anything because of liability, or they wouldn't know how to fix it if they did bust through, they're not really paint correctors. And I kind of want to just call everybody out that talks that smack. So again, it's all about the product too. You want a nice foam pad. I used to use wool pad all the time. I'm not a big fan of them anymore. The biggest reason is because they leave really deep swirls, and especially if they get dirty or anything, like they're terrible for that. I still do go back to them once in a while, and I'll cut with them when I have heavy stuff to cut, but I don't really run into that much anymore. So yeah, foam pads have always been kind of my go-to. Any questions, comments, everybody? Just leave them right in the chat, everybody. I'll answer them. So. Okay, here's a good example. You can't really see it, but I'm not happy with this. Missed a little scratch right here. Now it's kind of hard to see you guys that I'm live, but it's over here on this edge of this emblem right here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my 2000 grip, and I'm just going to work that just a little bit more. And that's the thing. You have to pay attention to detail when it comes to this stuff. I lost my water bottle. Here it is. Anyway, like I said, you don't want to fill that up. Get it outside. Because the polish, it does have a little filler in it. I mean, I'm not going to lie. But you don't want to get it outside after it's washed and all the compound and polish have been basically taken off. You don't want to get it outside and run into finding scratches that you missed. It's always helpful to have a light or really well lit shot. But it's important. Make sure your paper is clean. I guess when you do this long enough, you'll understand. But the guys that are coming in and detailing, they would have hit that scratch with some polish and probably would have been okay with it. And I get it. Like, there's a difference between a $400 buff job and a $1,000 buff job, right? Everybody's got to make their money, but I don't want to hear people sitting there saying that they're paint correcting a vehicle when they're not sanding the scratches out, because that's just not the case. And that goes with anything. I mean, so on the bed side, I hate this junk, trying to use it up though. So on the bed side, I hit that with 1000. I went over the whole thing with 1000 grit because I was not happy with all the orange peel that some previous painter laid down, let it go. You know, a lot of people don't realize that kind of stuff. But I mean, it's not factory looking. It was horrible. So I went and I actually did the customer a favor by sitting there and wet sanding all that bad paintwork out. I actually think I got to do it on the other side too. Biggest thing is too, you want to try to get your moldings taped up. I hate this tape, but you want to try to get them taped up so you're not running into them with the buffer because you can ruin them pretty quick. So I just be safe, run a piece of 2 inches and a half, whatever you got on. Alright, now just looking at that scratch came right out. But that would have been one of the scratches that dies back that you would have seen later. When I get done with this truck, I'm not going to be able to get them all out because some of them are into the base coat, but I'll touch them up and make it look as best and presentable as I can. This guy's an old farmer actually. He's not a farmer anymore and now he wants to, you know, take his newer truck and make it look nice. I get it. I left my little buffer at home, so I do not have that today. Forgot it. Biggest thing is be mindful. Do not hit your mirror. Don't hit molding. That kind of stuff. If you will ruin that textured plastic if you hit it too hard. I think I got it. Just wanted to address that before we went any further. That's just the thing. You paying attention to detail. Like, we got a little tiny spot of tar I missed there. I'll grab some thinner. I mean, there is a big difference between a detailer paint correcting your vehicle and a painter paint correcting your vehicle. So keep that in mind. Next time your detailer comes out and sprays a bunch of silicone wax all over your car to make it look good for a month or so, probably won't even last that long. Just keep in mind that that's not true paint correction. It may look good for a couple months, but then guess what? You're gonna be right back at him later down the road, either be mad or saying, hey, can you do that again? So just keep in mind, if you're a picky person, don't go to a detailer to get your car bought. You want to go to somebody that understands what paint does and how paint works. What's everybody up to today? All having a great Saturday. I wish I was at home doing some stuff, but you know, money calls, I guess. You'd say. It's the only bad thing. But working, you know, 8 to 5, especially here soon. Time's gonna be changing, the light's gonna be changing. Hard to get anything done here in a little while, so spending one of my last nice weekends probably in here buffing a truck. here we are. Anyway. So how many painters in the chat? I've talked to detailers before and they tell you they do paint correction. I want to hear it from you guys. And then you ask them what steps they take. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I had a local detailer. He's a nice guy, does a really good job. Not saying anything bad about him as a person, but he doesn't really know much about buffing. And, you know, great guy. Does great, amazing detail work. But I said, well, do you sand any of your scratches out before you buff them? And he says, no, I can't. I said, what do you mean? Well, I don't have a mill gauge and blah, 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 blah. And I said, you realize a mill gauge that reads the thickness of the paint all the way through, not just clear. And, you know, I was just trying to give him some tips and pointers and stuff. And I said, well, you know, a mill gauge is going to help you to a certain extent, but it's going to be just experience of knowing your limitations. And you kind of tell just by looking at a car or truck anymore how much clear coat it's got on it, what you can really go, what your limitations are. But as far as that guy, he says that, you know, that he would have to turn it into his insurance, you know, because he wouldn't be able to fix it if he busted through, so that's why he doesn't bother. And I said, well, that's not really true paint correction, you know, and I told him I'm not trying to be mean, but that's not true paint correction. And he's like, well, you know, I get $400 to buff a car. And I said, yeah, that seems fair, but I get $1,000 to paint correct something. So the difference is just making sure that your customer understands the difference, because most of them, they'll get their car buffed and be super, super happy because, you know, it's all nice and shiny for a month or so. And then they're going to be like, well, what happened here? My scratches all came back, and they're not going to be very happy in a couple months. So what is everybody up to today? Let me get closer here so I can see what's going on. Got one person in the live. What's up? What's up? If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, you want to yell at me, you want to talk crap, I don't care. Leave it in the comments, everybody. And go ahead and like this stream while you're at it too. Oh, maybe we can't. But anyway, we're just going to be hanging out on live here in a little bit, and we're going to keep buffing on this truck. Like I said, any comments, leave them in the chat. Being thorough is key, everybody. Especially when you move on to your polishing steps. You don't want to get, like I said, done doing all your 3 steps, or maybe you have a 2-step system. If you don't want to get done with your steps, pull it outside and see what swirl marks you did. Because even though I'm using foam, you still get a little bit of swirls. And that's okay. Because I'm going to go back through and I'm going to be really thorough with my next couple steps to make sure that we really, really get all those swirls out. probably wondering, well, it doesn't look like you sanded much down below. No, and the reason is because last year I think I painted this door and this fender. So I'm just getting light scratches on the clear coat that's been caused since I painted it. Let me tell you, it was a big difference from what I painted to the other painter that painted it. Huge difference. If you guys like seeing me go live, you know, maybe I'll start making some announcements, scheduling stuff. I'm just kind of going live here and there to just see what kind of attention it's going to grab, if it's really worth my time or not. Yeah, we're going to keep going. If you guys are liking what you're seeing, don't be afraid to jump down there and leave me a super chat, or just give me a thumbs up, or share the stream. Any help would be appreciated. Thanks so much. Truck is coming out beautiful, everybody. What I'm gonna move the camera. I'm gonna bring it a little closer so everybody can see what's going on. Go ahead and see if we can get it with me not in the way here. Try to do this without knocking my camera over. Very happy. But anyway, you can kind of see a little bit where it's still hazy. Maybe. I don't know if the paint camera's going to pick it up or not. Like I said, this is a complete paint correction. This is not just a buff and wax your car. So there's a big difference. Am I still maybe going to put some wax on it when I'm done? Probably. Just because I want the protection there, not because I want to hide anything. That's the difference. Really paying attention. I sanded in here, making sure we're getting all those sand scratches out. That kind of thing. The worst thing you can do is pull it outside and see a bunch of sand scratches. Doesn't hurt to wipe some of the clear coat off that you were wet sanding on either, just so you can see a little better. But yeah, if you're enjoying this live stream, everybody, I want everybody to go hit that thumbs up. You know, if you want to help me as a channel and help me survive on YouTube, don't be afraid. Throw me a super chat. Thanks. Okay, so unfortunately, I do have a couple issues with this fender, which we will go on later. Got a couple stone chips here, here, and here. What I will do is I'm going to touch those up, then I'm going to touch them up with clear coat. I'm going to sand and buff them out. And what that's going to do, it's almost going to make it look like maybe just a little tiny dirt nib in there, but it's going to be way better than looking at a stone chip. Again, that's another thing that detailers really don't do because they don't understand that. So, and that's fine. But please do not say that you are a paint correction, that you're doing paint correction if you're not. That's another thing. As you can see, I'm using very little compound. I'm really letting that, what's soaked into my buffering pad, really do the work. And I'm just kind of relubing it. And what that's doing is letting the actual heat help do some of the work. And yeah, you will get some little spots and stuff where you're gonna have to get a little extra detail with a little wetter. Because what it's gonna do, it takes it from a chemical reaction, and what it's doing is you're doing more of a mechanical, which is fine. A lot of these newer compounds, especially the ones that aren't full fillers, do have a lot of chemical reaction that happens as well. It's not just mechanically buffing like the old school days. So, but it doesn't hurt to get that little bit of extra oomph into your buffing. Believe me, it's harder than you think to break through. As long as you're not riding on edges, as long as you're not, staying in one spot too long, you're pretty much okay. I mean, it does take experience, it does take practice, and just some common sense. But it really, it's not that difficult to buff. And that's why a lot of detailers and stuff are picking that up, not just doing interior, exterior kind of deals. So. And that's why we take the extra steps to go and step it up to finer grits. This being more of a chemical reaction instead of a mechanical, buff. And so basically how buffing works, used to be in the old days, you take a wool pad and you try to buff the scratches out, and then you just refine the scratches. Well, there's a lot of chemical reactions and stuff in these compounds nowadays, as long as they're not full of fillers, that actually react to the clear coat and actually, glaze out the front, so the top. But anyway. And that's the reason why you got a lot of old school guys that be like, "Ooh, you can just buff 1500. Yeah, you can. You absolutely can. You know how long you're going to be there doing it too? You're going to be all day buffing one panel to do it correctly. Another thing is making sure that your vehicle is extremely clean before you start. I did a quick clay bar and then lacquer bath on this one, and I still missed some tar, which is pretty common. But that's okay. That's what it's about, correcting the paint. It's not just about filling all the scratches with silicone-based waxes. What do you guys think about the ceramic coating? Anybody on here ceramic coated before? In my opinion, I think it's half a scam, but who am I? That's okay, we're going to be thorough. That's the biggest thing. Be extremely thorough, and you're going to be happy when it's done. You're going to take pride in your work when it's done. I'm not going to just leave scratches in this truck. You understand? This paint's going to look flawless when I'm done. Whether I got to do some magic tricks to get everything touched up or whatnot when it busts through the base or busts through the clear coat, we're going to make it happen. Now I'm going to post results to prove this. Today I'm going to be literally filming, I already started a little bit, a whole episode on why buffing is different than paint correction. They worded a little different, but everybody hang out. There should be a video coming very soon of me explaining the difference between paint correction and buffing. crazy with no compound, and you will get a little tiny buffer burns. It's not burning anything. It's burning, blazing the surface. Not a big deal. See, it's gone. It's not filling anything. It's not doing anything crazy. Man, back in the day, you get a little burn like that and be scared to tell the boss, you know? Because you just, you know, everybody's in such a rush. You can't afford to repaint anything, especially over a buff. But, you know. Like I said, the more you do it, the more you're going to get used to how long you can stay in one spot, how long you can ride an edge. What is everybody up to on this beautiful Saturday? Man, we're up in Pennsylvania in here, and we are having a grand old time buffing this truck instead of being at home doing things. Gotta get some more cord for my buffer. Ooh, the noisy air compressor turned on. Great. You guys ever use those screw compressors? We have one in our other garage. It's pretty good. Really quiet. They're tiny too, man. You can get a really good screw compressor that it's like this big, you know? Maybe that big. But you can get a screw compressor to run probably twice of what this one would run. And then you don't gotta deal with the noise. I'm gonna go over ahead and shut this door. Who wants to hear that noise thing? But yeah, we're just hanging out on a Saturday, everybody. Doing a little side job, buffing the truck. Paint corrector, the truck. See, I almost did it. All right. And I'll get the upper rail and stuff when we get closer. But before we jump off here, it's extremely hard to see through the camera, I'm sure. But she's coming along really nice. Got this whole side done already. Probably extremely hard to see with no light. Oh, I gotta hit this spot quick. But I already did the bed side. I know it's all dirty and gross right now. I gotta wipe it off so you guys can see it, but I'm not worried about that until I'm ready to put some polish on. So, hey, let's turn these off, and I think we're gonna jump off of here. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and we're gonna start doing this a lot more. So, start hanging out, start liking these streams, start checking them out for a little bit, invite your friends. Thanks a lot, everybody. This has been Murder to Finish.